Folks, I want to share something very special with you. Welcome back, YouTubers. Thanks for checking in on me, seeing how we're going with this Moto Guzzi. Well, today you can see I'm back on the road again. Don't worry, I haven't bought a new bike. I've got enough now. I had somebody come around and visit me last week. He wanted to show me his collection. He'd obviously watched some of my YouTube videos and he thought I might be interested in looking at his collection. So I'm off there now, but in particular I'm interested in the Moto Guzzi he has. He has a LeMans Mk1. Apparently it's museum condition, which means that I can go and investigate what the restoration quality is for a start, and number two, what the Moto Guzzi finish is actually like, if it's original. And also I think you're any Ducati owner interested in vintage Ducatis are in for a treat, because this is quite a collection of old Ducatis. So I'll see you there. This, I have to tell you, is a house. This entire house has been converted just into a personal workshop, which is just the way motorbikes for fanatics go. And this is, I've never seen so much care gone into these. He says it's original, so I want to go and see what, like for example, the casing on the older Mk1s are not very good quality material. So, but yet I see some pictures where they're painted or they might be aluminium polished. This stripe has to go through the corner of the hole to be original. This is the bearing tensioner, but as you can see, this is really quite... Gee, that's feeling a bit better already. Oh, maybe this was just on too tight. You can see that this has been sitting so long. I don't know if you can see that. You see this little stain marks on the bearing face. Bearing seems to be all right. I've just washed off the bearings with petrol. Break down the grease that's in there and water and muck. Bearings feel okay. One of these tasks I have to perform here is to protect this original label. So I'll scratch this off my hands because it's just a sort of a paint, but I'm going to tape something over this. I usually use a duct tape because it's got a kind of a soft finish to it, and what it'll do is it'll protect the writing, but otherwise it'll just eat through all of this. Let's put some extra protection on this. We'll put some masking tape over the top. Alright, time for the tank. After the paint's come off, definitely was resprayed because I found a lot of body filler work. There's a dent here, quite a large section underneath here, as you can see. That's a big knock that side, which was filled in. See, the problem with that is it's going to show, so I'm not sure how we're going to deal with this. Pretty cruddy. Here we go, the different composites that make up this Guzzi. This is a very tough primer I'm going to leave underneath. It doesn't blast off, so that's fine. With fiberglass, you tend to get, when you sandblast, you tend to get a rougher surface back, kind of a blasted surface because of the epoxy. That's okay. What we do is we put a filler primer on, and the filler primer will then level it off clean, but that's the only way to get all the old paint off without so sometimes you can key paint, but if you suspect it has been painted after the original paint has been done, which in this case it has been, it's very unlikely they get a 2-pack paint, so you don't really want to be painting over the top of that, so you don't really have a choice. With regards to these, I'm going to have to figure out, it looks like all the original bits are still here, which is great, which means that I'm going to have to fabricate and repair all these bits, which is great. I didn't expect to see them here, so I'm going to take them apart now and see what I've got to work with, and we'll continue. This is interesting. This is plastic, so I've got a new plastic weld which I want to really try on this stuff. So far it's been good. lot of work done. There's the gearbox. The engine's in bits. I still got to take the timing case off. There's the replacement front, the bikini fairing as they call it. This came out really well. These came out really, really well. I'm very happy with those. Most of the chrome still on here. This one is a little bitty, a little faded, but that's okay. That drive came out well. So yeah, on the whole, quite happy. I'm just waiting for the client to supply the replacement rear shocks for that. Exhaust pipe is done, as in stripped. Frame is stripped. Subframe is stripped. Wheels are stripped. Now these wheels were a pain because there was some kind of a primer base or something on the surface that took me an enormous amount of time to clear. So I'm glad that's done. I left the wheels on because I just wanted to get sanding. They will come off and I will then sand the inside of the rims. They are so hard, I think I might have to cut them off. And believe it or not, these are actually been deflated and I can barely move them. So yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get a spanner in there without damaging the rim. So I'd rather cut them off. The pistons are cleaned. The sump is repaired now and squared. So we're just waiting for the measurements for the rings. I've just got to work out those. And the seat, which is only half cleaned. I have to clean the rest of it and we have to still decide whether it's going to look good enough or not and how much more remedial work I can possibly do on the seat. But as I said in the first video, I'd really like to try and save it if I can. It's been a long day and I'm quite tired now. My ears are ringing from the sandblasting booth. But a good day and all, a very good day. Discovering issues I probably won't be able to help myself, and I'll be taking these off now and see how I can repair those. So yeah, let me piece that together. This one's a bit more complicated. And we'll get to that too. Pretty much the same story. Just this is definitely an original piece of plastic they've welded on. In fact, this one's come off. It's exactly the same contour there, so yeah, that's at least nice to know that they've got some sort of support there. So it looks like I'm going to have to manufacture one of these for this side. 6mm sharp for the screw and then thread it metric. There we go. One pin in. Right, let's look and see what I've done. I've used polystyrene with what I think is ABS, but like this label said, it comes with ABS, but it clearly doesn't. 3-butane gas torch soldering iron. There's no butane. No butane. Thank you. We continue. So I've used a soldering iron the way I used to do. What I usually do is just blend the material that I have. So I've never tried this before, but it feels really nice and strong, I must say, with this polystyrene. Polypropylene doesn't really stick to itself as well, so I'm not even sure why they sell that. Anyway, we've got the polystyrene, and that really has done a great job there, so I'm very pleased with that. So I'll go and sand it off. So that is really a success. Keep moving it evenly at even heat. I always keep some spare bits of plastic lying around because I'm going to literally melt that into situ. That's the outside. Now we cool that down, and then the inside. This is the side we did the end on. So once this has got the primer on it, we'll be able to tell these little gaps and nookies here. There's another one there, and we're able to sort that out, but at least you can see this line is square. Will it fit that pin? Let's see. It's lined up there. It's lined up there. It's pretty much in the center. But for extra strength, because I find this design is just a disaster waiting to happen, I'm going to shore this up with carbon fiber. You can see I've got a pre-seat laid up there, so I'll start to press that in, and I will just get that all cured up. Okay, so the repair work is done. It looks pretty ugly, but it's very solid. So I'm happy that it won't snap off now. Good. Let's get that to paint. One of the ways you can preserve these type of things, if they're not cracked, they're just a little bit dry, is spray some GT85 or a WD-40 lubricant or something oily on the rubber. You can even dump it in oil, I guess. You'd be amazed. What happens to rubber over time is it dries. When it dries, it starts to crack and becomes unsupple. Now, I've done this with Avon tires for the Royal Enfield, and they weren't cracked, but they were quite stiff, and I was utterly amazed. So do try it. If you, again, you can always go and buy new ones, but as I say, when you're adding up all these costs of a restoration, this is where the cost goes. It's all these tiny things. Look at me. I made this whole thing for nothing. This is typical. I'd actually taken this off because it's held, I think some kind of relay or other, I think. So I already had it. And what the good news is, there's another rubber here. Now, I just thought while I was cleaning all this up, the keys, while cleaning all this up, this is a steering lock here. So I managed to force this open. It's pretty dry, and I'm wondering whether one of these keys fit. Well, there goes the romantic notion of being able to have a fully functioning steer locking bike. What's a day like without Pink Floyd? Okay, so this is the exhaust valve. as you would expect, it's going to need to be cleaned. Probably seats okay, but we'll sort that out. See, those guides are good. There's absolutely no play in them. Good. Don't have to go through that drama. No, these are good. You can see the shine. I haven't even worked on this. So what we're looking for is breaks in that shiny surface where debris might have gone through the side, and get any leaks coming through there. But so far that looks great. So nicely polished now. All done. And now we fix the fins on this one. Some of you may recognize this from a iMac. Heat works to a point. Do with a little bit more tapping. Okay, so that's gonna go roughly machine is that with aluminium MIG welding, you need, I believe, two things. You need a feed that works, comes from the actual handle itself. Why? Because the feed through the system from the inside here pushes a very, very fragile, a very crumbly, soft material wire down the line. So when you press against the end there, the little power wheel that feeds the aluminium wire through jams, and it just collects like a little nest down there. Then you've got to pull it all out, feed it through again. I believe there's an aluminium feed specifically for these. As far as the gas is concerned, I believe this is welding gas for mild steel and stainless steel. So I need to find out a little bit more about this aluminium to decide whether to go ahead with this or not, depending on the cost of buying a new piece of kit. I mean, I could use it for future projects, but it is directly as a result of this project. You're getting to know me by now. I couldn't bear seeing this thing look like this. So I'll ponder it over the weekend and see what I can come up with as a solution. But whatever it is, we will sort it out.